Hi, this is Marty Chen. Thanks for visiting my channel. Here is a project I came across. I put together for my 2023 Vespa uh, GTS HPE. Um, and we're doing for the scooter Cannonball. I wanted a front tire rack to hold a tire, and there was a really nice design that was done on modern Vespa. I was looking at maybe a different way of doing it without having all the machinery involved, and this is what I came up with. Um, this is a tubing clamp. It's a industrial strength tubing clamp I found online, just googling tubing clamps, and this came with two steel plates that one on each side that clamps together some super high temp, high pressure stuff. And it wasn't expensive. It was like $10 a clamp. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Someplace in the East Coast. So anyway, what I did was, if you look here on the upper tube here on the Foco rack, right here is where I clamped these, one on each side. I didn't have this Rotopax on it at the time. I clamped them here. I just made sure this was pointing downward towards the bottom, and so the wheel lug hole, it went through the wheel rim, through the lug hole, and I put a nylon locking nut and washer on the other side. I just kept adjusting these until I got them just to where I wanted them, centered, and I tightened them down, and they will never move, ever. And then I took and put the wheel on it, and then put a flat washer and a nylon locking nut, and I locked it down. And you could not move that wheel to save your life. I did add, for insurance, a couple of rock straps at the top of the wheel and to the top of the Foco rack, but trust me, 1,000 miles, they were totally unnecessary, but it added insurance. It's never something you want to avoid doing, just in case something happens. So I did it anyway, and it worked out great. 1,000 miles, didn't move a bit. Okay, so that's that rack, that mount. That was probably $30 worth of hardware, including shipping, 30, maybe 40. So, piece of cake, man. Anybody can do that. Here's the other one. Same Foco rack. It came with a sticker that said 2019 on it, which I was shocked, because I thought it'd be different from the 2020 and 2020 and newer HPEs, but apparently it's not. This came from SIP over in Europe, and I got this rack on recommendation of a friend of mine because it hooks on top rather than using the two bolts of the Piaggio rack. You see the bolt hole down here. This one is is shared with the same hole that the Piaggio rack uses. The Piaggio uses a second bolt a little higher up, and they don't have. The Piaggio is a nice rack, but it doesn't have the strength to hold a 7 kg load. So I went with the Foco rack because it has the hooks on top, which will hold the load much better than trying to use two 6mm bolts. So anyway, these are these little clamps, like the other clamps I had. These came from Speedy FPV in Texas. I think I bought them off Amazon. They're aluminum saddle clamps. They're anodized, and it's got steel anodized bolts and steel nylon lock washers come with it, and they come extra long for the purpose of attaching to something, which is actually just what we needed. And I took the Rotopax, the standard round mount plate, and I just eyeballed it. And let me turn this thing around, and centered it and drilled it, and I moved it up and down, before I drilled it where I wanted it, because I did want the 1 gallon Rotopax to miss these lugs right here. You can see in the corner. I wanted to not hit the lugs and tear the can up. So I wanted it to sit flat on these bars, which it does. It does an incredible job. So anyway, I started out by eyeballing these things where I wanted them, and centering it from side to side on the chrome tube, and then I used a Harbor Freight It's, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a centering punch. So it's made to go in just the right size hole and make sure the hole is right dead center inside the hole. So I put it through the hole into the plate in here. The best thing to do is to line it up, get it where you want it, hit it once, make a nice dent to start off with, and then drill that hole. Then put a bolt through it so it can't move around on you. Then realign everything, and then put it through the other hole, and then whack it again and get the second one indexed, and drill the second hole. And once you do that, I did the outer one first, and then I went over here and I installed the other outer one, and then I backed it off and put the saddles inside here, moving where I wanted to move them, and tighten it all back down again, and drilled one hole again, and then put a bolt through it and drill the other one, so you don't have this thing walk off on you and have a hole where you don't want it. So anyway, this takes longer to really explain how easy this was to do. Anybody can do this stuff. It's super simple. If you look at this Rotopax, let me put it on here for you. I got it centered and it's exactly where I wanted it to go. But now it wants to fight me, right? And I got to put it on. Okay. The idea was, if anyone puts anything luggage-wise onto a bike, the one thing you want to do is you want to be stable. You want to be rock solid, because any movement takes that weight, multiplies that weight, and pulls on it. So that's why these things unbolt themselves from bikes, is because you've got a load that's not solid, and it works the whole assembly loose and it goes flying. So make it rock solid, and you'll never have to regret it. You'll have a good time. Anyway, welcome to my projects. I hope you enjoyed them, and good luck to you and your projects. Take care.